Oh, I figured them all out.
I think I've got most of them as well, which I'm actually quite proud of.
I'm a bit disappointed because I wanted to be stumped more.
There's some where I'm definitely stumped, but there's others where I'm like, yeah, I've got you. Like, I know who you are.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to The Tucked Guesser. I'm Kenzie Blackheart.
I'm Shar Cooterie.
And we are two drag queens whose mission is to penetrate deep in the costumes of the Masked Singer UK to determine who their famous identities really are. And this week we are exploring weeks 1 and 2 of the Masked Singer UK. Right, let's just get straight into it because there is a lot to cover.
Yes, there is.
2 weeks worth, but it's good doing it this way because at least now we've seen all 12 masks. So the first one that we started with was Robin. I know.
I love Robin so much. I love the costume. I think my costume of the year, probably.
I wouldn't say
and
of the year, but the thing I loved about Robin was the strut, the cockiness, you know, the swag.
The level of swag reminds me of Chameleon from the first season.
Yes, absolutely.
Where it's just like, you feel like a baller in this outfit, and it comes through.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, with Chameleon, they were a seasoned performer. It was Justin Hawkins of The Darkness, a band which I grew up listening to. I absolutely love The Darkness. But I think with Robin, I don't think they are a seasoned performer.
I'm not convinced. Robin, I've gone back and forth on. So I've rewatched the episodes to get myself ready.
Yeah.
And the main guess that I had, I'm no longer sold on at all.
The first guess that we had the first time we watched it, me and hashtag Mama Blackheart, shout out to her. The first time we watched it, we both guessed Sid Owen.
Same.
And it wasn't until we rewatched it, we changed our minds to Joe Swash.
See, this is where I'm going to disagree. Now, I've rewatched it today, and I picked up on a couple of things that make me think this is not a Brit. I don't believe that this is a British person.
Okay.
I think they've dropped Albert Square to immediately make us think East End of London. But as they show Albert Square, the Robin said, "I am not a square." So I'm wondering whether we're showing Albert Square and people are going to latch onto the visual, but actually what they're saying is, this is not me. The two things that make me think they're American is when they're singing, I hear a very authentic American accent. And then I don't even know, this wasn't meant as a clue, but it happened. The Robin saluted Jonathan Ross. Now, in the UK, we all learn to salute like this.
Yes.
The Robin salutes like this, which is American. I may be overthinking a tiny gesture, but it's that sort of subconscious thing that I'm thinking, they're not even thinking about it. But I'm confident it's an American.
Okay. Which
I'd love Sid Owen, but I think American.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Joe Swash, because we've got this joke in our family where Joe Swash would be there for the opening of a letter. He's definitely a reality show veteran, let's say. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was him. And I suppose it's a matter of time until he does do a show like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If it is an American, which American do you think it could possibly be?
I feel like, listening to the voice, the other reason I went off of Sid Owen is I don't feel like it's got the age in the voice that Sid Owen would have. So I'm thinking it's someone younger, with a combination of someone younger, someone who can move, that swag. I hate myself for saying it. I'm wondering whether it's someone like a Logan Paul, who's been doing a lot of boxing, who is a huge influencer in sort of social media, would be a big get for a new crowd.
Yeah.
I'd rather it were not him, but...
Girl, me too. Like, we next had the unfortunately eliminated Alien, which I'm actually sad about because A, love her, and B, I love the costume.
It's so cute.
It was one of my favourites of the season. I absolutely loved Alien's costume. The Cyberlocks, you put Cyberlocks on anything, I'm like, I'm here for it. and the metal as well, the metal corset, absolutely
Yeah.
loved.
It was drag. I loved it.
Oh, absolutely. It was drag. Yeah, absolutely. Where do you think it went wrong for Alien?
It's tricky because she had, and this will have spoilers in, no doubt, guys. So if you're watching, this will have spoilers. I think it went wrong where she tried to disguise her voice.
Absolutely.
But the problem is she's got such a distinctive voice. I ended up thinking, and this is I was miles off with her. I ended up thinking it was someone who was not a regular singer. Because she was trying to disguise her voice. Upon having seen who it was and then watching it back, I was like, oh my god, of course. You can hear in her vibrato, you can hear in the sort of airy tone, you can hear that it is who it was. Yes. But I'd written down Trini from Trini and Susanna as just out of desperation. I had no clue.
That would have been a really good one, but yeah, I'm actually glad to say that we actually did get this one correct, only because of the voice. It is so distinctive, her singing style. And we do listen to her quite a bit, especially my mum. She loves like Murder on the Dance Floor and that one she did with DJ Spiller. So we do have those songs on quite a bit. So we're kind of used to her singing style. And when she started singing, it was like, yeah, that's Sophie Ellis-Bextor.
Is there someone you would rather have seen gone out because obviously this is a tricky show because I like to watch the performances, but I also like the game of guessing. And as you had figured her out, are you glad that she sort of went when she did? Would you like to have had someone else go? And if so, who? Because, I'm here to bring drama.
I know you go. Do you know what? The one that I think that I just wasn't quite convinced by was Sausage.
Okay.
I wasn't entirely convinced. From the very start of the series, we will talk about Sausage. Actually, no, let's talk about them now. From the start, when the costumes were released, there was just something in me which thought, this is going to be Bag of Chips. So when the feminine voice came out, I knew it wasn't Bag of Chips. My guess for Sausage at the moment, which is probably a little bit too obvious given the clue package, is Billie Piper, which, not going to lie, I would love it if it is her, because I do think she is absolutely beautiful. I love her.
Yeah.
I grew up watching Doctor Who around the time when she was on. So
hers was the first album I ever bought.
Yeah.
Which ages me a bit. She was the first album I ever bought for myself when I was growing up.
But she was the youngest chart.
She was huge. She was like 13. Yeah. She got picked up for I think they were doing photo and they were photos for Smash Hits magazine back in the day.
Yeah.
And someone saw the pictures and were like, can she sing? And she was at stage school at the time. And they were like, yeah. And then they booked her, gave her an album, and the rest is history.
As I said, I would like to think her, but I don't have a clue who else it could be.
I'm leaning increasingly towards Stacey Solomon, which is also why I'm not convinced Joe Swash is on.
Yeah. It would be
someone's got to watch the kids.
Though, wouldn't it?
I mean, it'd be amazing, but I think...
Where are you going every week? Where are you going?
Well, they both go out. Maybe they just both go out. Who knows?
Well, there you go.
But then they need little sausage kids or something. Because they got the kids to worry about. I think Stacey Solomon, just because for me it sounds like her, I think the same sort of tomboy, silly persona can be applied to her that might be applied to Billie Piper. The only other person I'm thinking of, but it's looking it up a bit more, I was thinking Sheridan Smith.
Love her.
I adore her, but I'm also like, those two, because the thing that caught me off guard was the over-characterization, the really big character that they're putting into that costume.
Yes.
In terms of how they're selling this laddish sort of attitude. Exactly. To then have this female voice come out. And I thought Stacey Solomon and Sheridan Smith would both be game enough for a laugh to play it up like that and be daft and have a lot of fun with it.
Oh, absolutely. But I think especially Sheridan, she's one of those people who just doesn't care, which I like about her. So yeah, I definitely think she would be the type to play up the joke.
But I found Sausage's clue package to be, it was very heavy on hinting towards Billie Piper and didn't give us much else. So I'm assuming that's a red herring.
Yeah, and the thing is as well with this show, especially the clue packages, which I've been saying it here. You literally look through like the Wikipedia pages of these celebrities when they get revealed on it, and they are literally taking the most minute detail and blowing it up to a massive proportion, which is just throwing people off. So you really do have to just literally look at the most small detail for everyone.
Well, that's part of how Sid Owen and the Robin is being bandied about, because of course Sid Owen did a celebrity boxing special back in the mid-noughties.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're going, right, Albert Square and boxing must be Sid Owen.
Yeah.
And we'll keep fingers crossed, because that would be twice now. Rita Ora has been like, oh my god, I'm in love with them, and then he's been a man like old enough to be her dad.
Yeah. she doesn't have much luck.
No.
Maybe that's why she needed a whole bunch of people over recently, but that's by the by.
Well, bless her. No, don't bless her. I mean, bless her naivety in thinking it wouldn't be a problem. Swan? Should we jump back to Swan?
Absolutely. Another one of my favourite costumes of the season. The drama.
Oh, I hate it.
I like it. I think it's very couture, I think.
I'll tell you my issue, and I've even written it in my notes. Hate the wings. If those two springy bits on the side went away, I'd adore it. But those two, I know they're meant to be wings or something. It just makes it look like a loo roll holder or something to me. It looks, I just hate them. The rest of it, amazing. All the ruffled lace and the huge, tall, ornate neck headpiece is glorious.
Completely rhinestone, by the way. Can we talk about that?
So beautiful.
Yeah.
But those wings, not for me. They cheapen it for me because they're not fully rigid, and
fair enough.
I don't like the wobble in them.
I mean, I would love a toilet roll cover that looked like that, but hey ho. So yeah, with Swan, there's quite a lot that we can dive into. My guess is, straight off of week one so far, are either Michelle Visage or Ashley Roberts.
Okay, I'm gonna go. See, now I think they're doing the opposite that they did with Robin. I think this is a Brit. Listening to like the Shania number that they did, any drag queen knows that number back and forth.
Absolutely.
And as a result, any drag queen listening will know that they are copying, like, beat for beat, Shania's intonation, which suggests to me they're having to put on an American accent. It's a copy, and I'm wondering whether that's because that's not their native accent. I would live for it to be Michelle Visage.
Absolutely, same.
Anything that gets more Michelle Visage on my screens, perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen.
That said, I'm not convinced, because the voice for me for the Swan was one of the weaker of the night. Okay. And that's not something I'd ascribe to Michelle. No. She's got a theatre background, and my guess at the moment, and it is a bit, again, I'm maybe being led up the garden path by them as they want. I'm with Darcy Bustle at the moment.
Okay.
Because the clue that she said where becoming the Swan is like, it feels like going full circle. So for me, I mean, it's fairly basic because they are styling this, it's very ballerina, but that might just be because swans tend to be anyway, in terms of popular representation.
It's a typical comparison.
Yes, but going full circle would suggest to me that she started as a swan, and then she's come back to a swan. So I can only assume I'm going with Darcy Bustle because of early ballet career.
The next one I found quite difficult as well, until I rewatched it last night, which was Dragon. And I think I've got Dragon sussed out now.
So I would put myself at 100% sure.
So would I. Who are you saying that Dragon is?
I'm saying Sue Perkins.
Okay. Not who I had.
Oh, who have you got?
I've got Courtney Act.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I tell you? Oh no, but this was filmed a while ago, wasn't it? I was about to say it can't be her because she's in quarantine in Australia. But well, she only left the country this tail end of last month because she was doing Death Drop in the West End.
Well, yeah, exactly. Which I saw, and oh my god,
oh, it's so good,
incredible.
Absolutely. I cried just the joy at being in a theatre and around a bunch of silly people having fun. It was just glorious. Why have you said Courtney Act, and then I'll go into why I've said Sue Perkins.
So I said Courtney Act because there was clues about them. There was the money in the house, and Courtney obviously won Big Brother.
Mm-hmm.
not normally a big personality, but they said they have quite a fiery temper. On season 6, Cooterie was given quite the villain edit. And even in Big Brother, she was quite vocal when it came to people like Anne. But otherwise, she just seemed lovely the whole time. The singing voice, it did sound like Cooterie to me. There is footage online of Cooterie actually singing that song, and it is quite similar.
Oh, okay. I'll have to go look it up.
Absolutely, yeah.
I haven't got footage of Sue Perkins singing this song, but now I'm doing one of my going down into tiny details because, you know, it's lockdown. What else am I going to do? So here are a few things. The singing voice is Sue Perkins, so it's Sue Perkins.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I've got some. I wish I'd written down everything in detail because I found more stuff as I went on. But main things for me, this dragon and the castles and the manor houses and all of this stuff lends itself to Game of Thrones. Now, Game of Thrones had a I can't remember what it was called now. I think it was like the Talk of Thrones. It was a side piece show, which was a recap show after every episode. They got on stars of the show and they got on different guests and talked about it. That was hosted by Sue Perkins. She also, the dragon also said halfway through it, they said, "Are you ready to guess me?" But it was stressed Arya, which again, one of the lead characters in Game of Thrones, made me think Game of Thrones. The Money in the Doll's House. Now you've said about Celebrity Big Brother.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely perfect for Cooterie Act. However, season 2 of Celebrity Big Brother starred Sue Perkins.
Well, there we go then.
And there's another moment in which we see the dragon sort of conducting, sort of waving. Sue Perkins did a show about learning to conduct an orchestra.
That maestro show, I remember that.
And I think she won that show, or she did very well on that show. So what I'm thinking next week rather, when we see more of the dragon, if they start to introduce clues about lots of food,
Bake Off.
I will settle. Well, Bake Off, and also she did How to Eat Like a Roman, How to Eat Like a Tudor, How to Eat Like a... So she's always done lots of historical stuff, Game of Thrones and How to Eat Through the Ages, all this sort of stuff. So I'm thinking Sue Perkins. It is also not a natural American accent, so it could either be Cooterie or Sue, but it's definitely not American.
Yeah, no,
and I'd say definitely a woman.
So yeah, the last one of week 1 we're on to is Badger.
I thought Badger was fab. Badger was so Robin was my outfit of the week. Badger was my performance of the week. Badger was one of these voices where I watched it and I went, I'm really annoyed because I don't have that voice in my life enough, whoever it is. Badger was a tricky one because I didn't feel like the clue package gave us much. It gave us the idea of bikes and biking. It gave us sort of this heavy metal sort of feel.
Yeah.
I think for me, the key things were this idea of being effectively anonymous.
Yeah.
So sort of being very famous, but able to go out. And then the other thing that sort of has set my guess in for now was their post-performance clue, where they said they see things like a virtual world.
Yeah.
So for me, it's between two people, and they're both a bit off the wall. My first is of Blur and Gorillaz fame, lead singer Damon Albarn.
Same here with me.
The other, and this is a bit of a stretch because I don't know, I've never heard their voice. I have heard Damon Albarn's voice, and so I'm wondering if it's a bit of a stretch. I've never heard the voice of Deadmau5.
Okay, that's a good one.
Now, Deadmau5 for me, could be an incredible singer. I don't know that I've ever heard their voice because they're a DJ, but that mask is identifiable everywhere. Or maybe someone like Marshmello as well, where it's someone who wears a mask already or has this concealed identity.
The problem is there's so many artists out there now that do the whole mask thing that it's
it must be
practically like
Sia.
another show out in the real world. Like, I'm not. If it's one of them, I'd just love it if they took their mask off and they just still had their mask on.
Absolutely.
That'd be amazing. I'd love that.
That would be so camp. He's just like a mask within a mask.
Yeah, mask within a mask within a mask. Now there's a challenge. I'm with you on Damon Albarn. I would love it to be him because Blur and Gorillaz have been. I'm not as vocal about my liking of them, but they have been a musical interest of mine for a long time. So I would love it to be him. But the other one that we're sort of leaning towards is Andy Serkis. Lord of the Rings.
Yes, and he works at the Imaginarium, which is a huge VR and CGI studio. He owns it, runs it, so I can understand that completely. He'd definitely be capable of putting on an accent. So if he is from, because that's the thing that's thrown me off these DJs is it's such a distinctive northern accent that if it's not put on, like if it's not authentic, rather, it'd be very difficult to put on. Andy Serkis could.
Oh, absolutely.
But can he sing?
He actually can. So my mum, just as heavily invested in it as we are, she's been trawling YouTube and she's actually found some clips of Andy Serkis singing. And he can sing, but I wasn't convinced about the comparison, which isn't always much to go on with this show because obviously they get the vocal coaches in, they go through on how to change the voice and etc.
Yeah, so it's just whether he can sing like that.
Exactly. But the only other thing that I can think of, going back to Damon Albarn, which is again, you've got to sort of clutch at straws a bit with this show, is all the sort of heavy metal references, etc. And Damon Albarn has got a gold tooth. Metal, gold.
I'd love that. They're like, we'll make you a biker because you got gold tooth.
As I said, it's the most minute detail. It's like, oh, you've got, a gold tooth and a cyst on your ass. Let's feature them somehow.
My sister was saying about the cats that were the Badger's backing dancers. And she was like, see, it's got to be dead mouse because they're cats. And I was like, this show can give you a headache sometimes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so that's the first 6 from episode 1. At the end of that episode, we had to say goodbye to the alien.
Yes.
Who was revealed to be, as you mentioned earlier, Sophie Ellis-Bextor of Sophie Ellis-Bextor fame.
The one and only.
The one and only.
Finally let free from her kitchen.
Bless her. I was really chuffed. I was really pleased that she was able to take part. It was really. I thought it was really
I
nice.
absolutely love her.
It's always a shame when people get sent home, but I thought solid reveal for the first one. Because I suppose part of the concern is with this show and with the UK's love of reality TV is that you're just going to cast duffers. And I was pleased with the first series that there wasn't anyone that I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
What? Who?
Yeah.
Maybe the politician. Maybe the pharaoh.
Yeah.
But other than that.
Yeah, I'm with you on the politician, but the rest of it, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was cute. Who's your pick from that 6 to get furthest?
My pick to get furthest out of those 6 is probably Badger.
I'm with you. That I'd say Badger or Robin. The Badger was in the latter half, the lower half perplexed me. I couldn't understand that.
Yeah.
That voice is very, very special. I'm going to flip a page now because we've got 6 more.
I know. Oh God.
Good luck editing all of this.
I know. We might have to do a part 1 and part 2, so that'd be fun for future Kenzie. You're welcome. Get editing, bitch.